Wake up, people! Compton, California. Well, let's see. Now, Compton used to have its own police department. They had a helicopter. But they went broke and they overtaxed and they ran everybody out, and diversity was their strength, and they brought in a bunch of people that nobody worked, nobody paid taxes, so they did away with their police department, and now they contract with Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. So what a contract city is if a city doesn't have enough money to have its own police department, which most cities like, because then they can work for the mayor and the city manager, and they can control what they do, and they get to hire and fire the police chief. So everybody likes to have their government enforcers working for the government locally. So for a city to give up that control and to contract with a sheriff, it's usually mean because they failed, they can't spend, they've overspent, and they screwed up their city, which is mainly liberal left-wing cities. So Compton is what's commonly referred to as a shithole in California. I mean, it is a violent, violent place. And I'll go over that in a minute. But let's look at this news report.
Then the LA County Sheriff's Department, known as the Executioners. Their alleged tattoo depicts a skeleton in flames, an AK-47, and a Nazi-style helmet. Miriam Hernandez has a closer look at the pressure mounting on the department to open their files on any groups like this.
About an aggressive band of his.
Okay, so here's a picture of the Executioners, and you'll notice they're Hispanic, but all their faces are covered. This is a Hispanic gang. And there's an Hispanic guy that turned them in, Gonzalez, probably because they tried to recruit him or something, or he tried to get in and they told him no. So he turned them in. So let's listen to the report.
Cohorts allegedly in control. According to the claim, members are branded with a sinister logo,
which is a skeleton wearing a.
Okay, remember the definition of a gang is two or more people working together to commit crimes, and they have a common uniform, rules of operation, or common colors or uniform status. Police, tattoos, committing crimes. This is an actual definition of a gang in which people are sent to prison for. But, of course, the PD denies that there's any, or the Sheriff's Department denies there's any gang.
Nazi helmet. With an AK-47 laughing.
And go.
So the AK-47 has the Roman numerals 28. 28's up top. I'm not sure. When gangs make these pictures and design their tattoos, every little thing. The helmet has a CPT on it. And I don't know if that stands for Captain, Corporal, maybe Crime, Punishment. And I don't know. The CPT means something. If somebody says we designed this tattoo and we just threw things on there for no reason, that's not true. So they have 28 here. The gang is 28 Compton. I don't know if 28, so a lot of times a lot of gangs will use a zip code. I don't know if 28's in the zip code. Sometimes it's the area code. In Sacramento, the area code, the main area code is 916. So a lot of gangs had 916 in their gang symbol. So if you saw a tattoo of 916, you knew they were probably in a gang. I used to laugh at the guys who would try, yo man, what you doing at 916? You from Stockton, who do you claim? They're like, yo man, I just like the numbers and shit. You know, it's like my area code. I just put it on because I like my area code. And I'll be like, shut the hell up, you idiot. Trying to bullshit me. So all this means something. The AK, the 28 on the mag, probably this striping here means something. The skeleton, the strap on the head not being down means something. This shadow of something here means something. The band CPT means something. Everything means something when they design these.
By a sinister name, the Executioners.
Again, we have the 28, 28 Compton, AK. I'm trying to find other little things that symbolize. I don't know if this is a necklace or if this is the skeleton or bones. Whoever drew this in could be a man screaming here. There's some hidden signals in here that people aren't seeing or that don't know the background. I mean, even in the SEALs team, every time the SEALs do a major operation, they make a flag designating that operation in support of that operation. And in the flag is all kind of secret hidden things about who they killed, how many they killed, all kind of shit that does that. Only the team members know. So when you see the flag, if anybody sees it, unless you were on the team, you wouldn't know what each little thing meant.
Which, according to the claim, does not allow African American or female members.
Okay, they don't allow female members. Hispanics tend to be a little bit more machismo, and I'm not being racist here and making this that. When I used to have to go to cultural training, we were told that Hispanics were certain and blacks were a certain way, and you have to be special, and Muslims are a certain way because they have different cultures, so you have to treat them special in certain ways. So it's not, you know, when we're getting trained to stereotype races, it's not racism. But if someone else stereotypes them, then it's racism. But anyway, they won't allow females, they won't allow blacks.
Deputy Art Gonzalez alleges the deputy gang is trampling on the rights of citizens and targeting him as a whistleblower.
Okay, so this is the guy that turned him in, Gonzales. His name's out. He's kind of screwed. He's not going to get back up. They're going to leave him out to dry. They'll set him up. Any cops, I mean, look, I had gang members that I got along with, that I cut slacks, that kind of owed me, that I could get them to do things if I wanted to. I mean, normally I would get them to do things like get me some info on this dude on the run, or, hey man, there was a crime here. You know, we're reaching a dead end. We know the guy did this, or he goes by Snoopy on the road, man. Can you help me find Snoopy, or whatever, you know? So you can use that when you help guys out, you develop, you know, resources. So these guys, if they're executioners and they've beat the hell or threatened families, if they do exist, then they've got some clout and they can call in favors. So it'll be like, hey man, we're going to have this deputy respond, and you call in a dog complaint, and when he gets dispatched, we're not going to be there, and set him up with a 2x4 and hook him up for us, and we'll owe you one. So, you know, this deputy has good reason to be fearful.
Deputy Gonzalez, he's afraid for his safety right now, as he should be. This is a violent gang, you know.
I don't think those guys will go after him. They'll have someone else do their dirty work.
Violence, shootings, beatings.
Why up? How come this guy ain't got no hair? Why are they always putting bald people in on these violent things? I think the media's picking on bald people. Beating him!
Claims of excessive force and much more. And the timing.
Oh my God, I'm so tired of this.
As
Ain't nobody got a freaking job anymore. Doesn't anybody have something else better to do than this?
community outcry demands systemic change, are inked executioners or prospects. Rumblings reaching the sheriff.
Well, first of all, there is no gang of any deputies running any station right now.
Okay, remember I told you, in order to get a conviction, if you're ever arrested or charged with a crime or the cops ever ask you questions, 3 things that cops hate and government hates and the DA hates is people that don't talk. So when you get contacted, you deny everything, you demand proof, and you admit nothing. Because without an admission, it is very difficult to get, you know, unless you're caught on videotape and it's absolutely you. And I mean, even without an admission, it's hard. Once you give an admission, once you get caught lying, once you say things that aren't true, your conviction percentage goes up much higher. Keep your mouth shut. This cop knows this. What does he say? First of all, there is no gang. Deny everything. Admit nothing. Demand proof.
This matter has already been receiving very swift administrative action. We've already taken positive steps.
Pressure for change is intensifying. Professor Sean Kennedy at Loyola Law School releasing a 2-year study of deputy gangs, including the execution.
He did a study of police gangs, of deputy gangs. You mean there's more gangs than just one?
Often, the inking.
This dude needs to quit shaking his leg and quit moving. It's very distracting watching his head bobble around like a bobblehead. Rick, why are you always picking on him? You just don't like white guys with ties and hair. Okay, whatever.
Is attached to some kind of act of violence, including a shooting. It's the ultimate expression of your commitment to policing and your commitment to the deputy gang.
The complainant, Deputy Art Gonzalez, is a former U.S. Marine decorated for his service in Iraq, Afghanistan. Here in Compton, once praised for speedy action to save a 4-year-old boy shot in the head. The tipping point? Gonzalez says he witnessed a deputy executioner assaulting a fellow deputy.
Okay. If a cop gets in a fight with another cop, you don't turn that shit in. So this cop saying, oh man, that was the final thing. A deputy assaulting another deputy really pushed me over the edge and I had to do something. Why didn't you do something when he's beating up innocent people? This guy lost credibility with me because if this is what he's standing on, a cop beating up a cop, I call bullshit. Cops are always either screwing around or getting pissed off and grabbing or getting in each other's face and arguing and not seeing eye to eye and threatening each other and calling each other out. So, well, it used to be. I don't know if they do it now, but when I was working, I mean, look, if you cross me, men handled shit like men and we dealt with it. But anyway, if this is the guy's stance on why he turned him in, I kind of call BS on that.
Gonzalez called a confidential tip line for internal affairs.
This is another reason that tells me this guy's an idiot. He calls a confidential tip line set up by IA and thinks it's not going to be recorded and that they're going to keep it confident. Are you kidding? IA works for the chief of the administration. Not only do they work for the chief of the administration, they know they're going to have to go out on the road when they leave IA, and they know they got cops that they're going to need backup on, and they don't want to shit where they eat. So for you to think that you can call IA confidentially, well, that proves you're an idiot on 2 levels.
To his shock, he says in his claim, the recording was intercepted.
Is within 48 hours, a recording of his supposedly anonymous call was leaked to the gang at the station.
He also reports that graffiti appeared at the station entrance.
Art is a rat.
I busted up when I saw it. Rick, you shouldn't be laughing. That's mean. They're being bullied. Look, somebody wrote this because they know every cop has to punch in their key to get in here. So they know Art was going to have to come punch in his code. Hell, Art may have wrote this just to make his claim better. But I just find that pretty funny that they put it to where every cop has to see it. Now look, the fact that somebody got a picture of this and it stayed up, that nobody removed this sticker or covered it up, I just find funny. I mean, that's the way it is. You guys can call me a hater or whatever.
And that was placed at the keypad to get into the parking lot. So that's the most visible place in the entire station.
Compton, a flashpoint for high-profile crimes. Recently, the armored SUV of rapper YG in the middle of a shootout. And an 18-year-old security guard, Andres Guardado, chased by 2 Compton deputies, shot 5 times in the back.
Well, why was he chased and why was he running? I mean, they make these things sound like the cops are out there just killing people, and we show a Hispanic guy and a black guy.
Evidence of the secret deputy pack emerged in the wrongful death shooting case of Dante Taylor. Compton deputy Samuel Aldama forced to reveal his tattoo, saying that about 20 deputies at the Compton station have the same ink.
Okay, that's not uncommon. Brothers, guys in the same unit in the military, you get ink. I mean, look, that's not so uncommon. And just because a bunch of guys get the same does not make them a gang. Does it show some loyalty? Yeah. Does it show they're part of a group? Probably so. Are they a tight band or tight friends? Maybe. But just because they got the same tattoo doesn't make them a gang. I mean, they need to figure out, is there a hierarchy? Who's in charge? Who's a lieutenant? Who, if this Gonzales was really, not so upset that 2 cops were fighting each other and decided to rat him out, maybe he would have been smarter and got in the gang and developed intel and recorded, and then he could have turned him in and he would have had a lot more evidence. But instead, he decides to rat out 2 cops that are having a disagreement and fight it out.
Skeletons, which is a symbol of death. There are flames on Aldama's tattoo, which symbolizes he's emerging from hell.
Okay, so he's saying what this thing, but he's not giving his source on how he knows this. I mean, you can see anything. This gang right here, these numbers dictate how many people they really killed. When you get your number, it's how many people you've beat up as a kid or how many people you've hurt during a game. And these yellow pants signify the yellow of the violent bird that attacks and kills. And, the shoelaces. I mean, you can just say shit on any picture. So this dude's like saying what the flames mean and it's a Nazi helmet. The helmet doesn't say anything about being a Nazi helmet. It's an Hispanic gang. What I didn't think Hispanics would like Nazis. But, I mean, so this guy's just making up crap.
There's an AK-47.
The Taylor family.
Well, what does that mean? It's a gun, okay? I mean, it's violent. It's revolutionary. It's, you can say, why they using Roman numerals. It's because they, like the way the Romans killed people and, the Romans were, bad in this. And that's why they're using Roman. Come on.
Family attorney put up huge billboards looking for potential victims.
Wow, man. They really went after this cop. If they put up billboards with his picture, whoo.
Aldama denied the group is a gang.
Why ain't he got no hair? Maybe they make them shave their hair to confirm what standards before they go to court.
The county settled for $7 million.
$7 million. Taxpayer money. Remember, this is a city that's only like 10 square miles. It's pretty freaking small. And they can't have their own police department because they ran it into the ground. And they tax the shit like a 10% sales tax or 11% sales tax. And, now they're paying out $7 million. I wonder who's going to pay for that. Well, Rick, it's the city. It's government money. They don't have to pay. It just appears. Yeah, that's because you're an idiot.
Dollars.
This is all taxpayers' money. So, yes, the taxpayers should be very worried. Criminal defense lawyers are going to be lining up, making motions for new trials.
This is a huge problem because this really puts into question the credibility. And any time, if any cop is testifying of a gang and a defense attorney goes, do you have this tattoo? And he either lies and says no, or he says yes. And he says, I want to see it. Or I'm going to show you a picture. Is that the tattoo you have? And the guy says yes. And isn't it true this connected with the executioner? And the cop says no. And then he shows the jury the picture of the tattoo and the things about it. I mean, the cop's credibility. How does a DA put a cop with this tattoo on a stand? I can actually see that if you want to maintain a cop, they're going to say, you either get it covered up or you change it. But I cannot put you on a stand with that tattoo. And if I can't put you on a stand, then what good are you as a cop? Well, you got to get paid, Rick, and we got to keep our quota hires up, and we can't fire them because then we'll be called racist. And, okay, here we go. More liberal policies, spending the shit out of taxpayer money with no regard for any fiduciary responsibility.
The Gonzales claim alleges the executioners brokered a deal to amp up arrest numbers.
Okay, so they're saying that now this makes sense to me because any unit, when you get in a task force or something, it's all about stats. And I mean, our goal was 30 stolen vehicles a month on the task force. We wanted 30 recoveries. So if we didn't get that, if we weren't close at the mid-month, then we would start working a whole bunch of overtime and making up a lot of money and working a lot of different shifts and checking probation and hanging in the high theft areas because we wanted to meet our goal. It wasn't set by anybody else. It was just like, dude, we're the task force. There's other task forces down in LA and they get like 5 vehicles a month and they're talking shit. So we want to be better than them and get 30 a month. Now, Sacramento was the high auto theft rate in the country. Okay, not in the state, in the country. More stolen vehicles ever. There's a huge Russian population and diversity is our strength in Sacramento. The huge Russian population, they are really into cars, insurance fraud, how they change cars, change VINs. I mean, they'll buy 2 salvage cars, a back half and a front half. They'll cut it in half, they'll weld it together, and they'll make it a new car. It's unsafe, but they'll sell it as a salvage car, and they make money. So they're very good with cars, registration, VIN numbers, and stolen vehicles. I contribute that on why Sacramento is so high with stolen vehicles, but I digress. So they wanted to increase 300%, which this seems reasonable for any task force. I mean, you could call in any drug agency, any drug task force, say, hey, What are your stats compared to last year? What are they last month? Are you always trying to meet those standards, or are you trying to increase those standards? Why are you getting less than last month? Are you being lazy? Why aren't you performing? Who's running this? Why aren't you guys developing leads? So there's this constant battle between justifying more money by arresting more people. And if you don't, then you lose funds and you lose these positions. And anybody that's familiar with government knows they don't like to lose numbers and they don't like to lose money.
Members of the public were stopped for minor infractions. According to the Loyola study,
I don't know if these are all cops, but they're throwing these little gang signs here. Now, I don't know if this is like a 28. C is for Compton. I'm not sure what it is. Now, look, me and my buddy, when we were working gangs and stuff, we would take pictures every once in a while. If we busted a gang, we'd throw their gang sign kind of as an insult because we put them in jail. And we may snap a picture of us throwing their gang sign. They'd be like, man, you ain't part of the gang. You can't do that. Fuck you. And we'd laugh and we'd take a picture of the gang. Go, here you go, man. You can put this in your property and shit so you can see it when you get out of jail or prison. So, I mean, them throwing gang signs doesn't necessarily mean they're in a gang. But if they're in a gang and they have a tattoo and they're being accused, you know, totality of circumstances, things add up.
Sheriffs over the last 5 decades have been unable or unwilling to dismantle the deputy gangs.
Again, all these pictures mean something. The ace, the spades, the 8, the 18, 1-8, DSS, you know, a revolver, maybe they like the 357, the 44 mag, whatever. All this means something.
And the money paid out to settle lawsuits when they are caught crossing the line.
They said they paid out over $50 million, and that's a low estimate.
The Inspector General gave me a ballpark estimate based on just public information that it's at least $50 million. I think in reality, it's got to be much, much more.
Villanueva says he is the first sheriff to impose a policy forbidding such groups.
Okay, so he makes a policy saying you can't have a group. Does that matter? Well, it gives you reason to say somebody's violating a policy, because if you find out, if you find documents, if you find emails, if you get somebody to admit that they're in a gang because, you know, he gets caught banging some hooker in his back seat, so he wants to cut a deal with the chief, and he says, hey, man, I can give you a gang, and these guys are in it, and here's a lieutenant, and here's who it is, and it's in the agency, and if you'll, you know, overlook me having sex with this hooker, then I'll do that. And then they'll cut a deal, and now they can say they can charge these guys, although it's not a crime maybe, because they can't prove that they did something criminal to support the gang. Maybe they can get them for violating policy and fire them that way. So the policy has a reason.
The Inspector General says today there is no evidence that the sheriff has pursued any house cleaning.
Okay, that's kind of a slam when the Attorney General says there's no evidence that he did. That's pretty much meaning the sheriff blew him off. And you know what? Maybe the sheriff did blow him off. Maybe he says, I don't give a shit. These guys are out here correcting criminals. If I catch them doing something wrong, I prosecute them when they do something wrong, or I write them up. But if they're out there working hard and they want to say they're a gang, I mean, what is a task force? Is a task force a gang? I mean, I was on a gang task force. Does that make us a gang because we're going after gang members? I was on a DUI task force for a while. Does that make us a gang because we're going after DUI drivers? I was on a computer crimes task force with kitty porn. Does that make me a gang because I'm going after kitty porn chasers? I mean, what does a gang constitute? Auto theft task force. Does that make me a gang because I'm after auto? I mean, using the word gang is getting convoluted when you're talking about law enforcement. But again, government doesn't have to apply by the rules that they put other people in prison for.
The county's watchdogs want the sheriff's records on all.
Now, Jump Out Boys Creed. I'm not sure what the Jump Out Boys Creed. Maybe Jump Out Boys is a local gang. And someone found this, that these are their rules. Because this is how you make a gang case. You find out what are their common rules. So, to be in a Jump Out Boys, each member shall ever fight with his brother. I think that should be never. Each member must respect and obey all rules of the Jump Out Boys crew. Okay? If you do not work GET or have never worked GET, then you cannot become a member. Now, because this says work get, I wonder if get is a task force and this is a cop thing. They don't really explain this real good. But that's kind of like how you prove that a gang's a gang when they have rules or code or creed or hierarchy. That's why I'm really, on the 3%ers, that's why I like 3%ers, because there's nobody in charge of the 3%er. It's a mindset. It's people who have the same mindset. When you start getting a hierarchy of a lieutenant, captain, who's in charge, who gives marching orders, what you need to do, you need to fall in line, you need to follow these rules. Now you start getting into a gang, and if one person in that so-called group commits a crime or does something, they can charge you all with being a member of the crime. That's why I'm real leery of getting in with groups. There was a group in Dallas that I was hanging out with, and I forgot what they were called, Minutemen something. I don't remember what it was. Really great guys. Everybody carried guns. Everybody had the same, but they were very structural. They had captains and lieutenants, and they had rank structure, and you had to go to these meetings, and everybody had to dress the same, and I was just like, man, this is getting too close to a gang. Even though it wasn't designed for criminal behavior, it would only take one guy to get charged with a crime. Once he's convicted, now we have a gang committing crimes. And now everybody in the gang is guilty of being in a gang. So anyway, I digress. Here we go.
All deputy gangs and the names of all members. The sheriff says due process law.
Who the hell does a white glove inspection of? Are you freaking kidding me? Look at the hairlessness. What is hair is like a freaking endangered species in this department. Why is that? Rick, why are you always picking on the people with? All right, whatever. Look, this is a mindset. When you start getting military and structured like this, that's why I don't like police a little bit. They want to play military, but a lot of them haven't been in the military. So, this white glove inspection, dude, I ain't never in a civilian agency had somebody inspect my gun. The only time I inspected the guy's guns only because it was required by Glock. Once a year, a Glock armorer has to go through and inspect it and make sure it's clean, etc., and make sure everything's functioning, looking for wear, and do a function test. So I would inspect their guns then, but these guys wouldn't come in with white glove. Their guns were freaking filthy. They throw them on my desk. They'd leave them on my desk with a note. Yo, man, here's my gun. I got my backup. Let me know when it's done. So, but this white glove shit, really? Come on.
Laws protect deputies from such disclosure. As for Gonzales now, he wants compensation for the years he had planned to serve.
Oh, here it comes. He wants a full retirement because he can't serve because he turned in a couple of cops for fighting. And since I turned in a couple of cops for fighting, that doesn't really play well. Maybe I'll just say there's a gang and it's related to a tattoo. I think he turned him in, he started getting heat, and then he said, well, I know about this gang. But anyway, this guy's kind of lost credibility with me in several cases. This guy's got a tattoo. I wonder what that means. Wow, they got a patch. That's kind of like a tattoo. I wonder what that means. That star means what you're going to see when we come and visit you. That's what that means. I'm like that guy. I'm going to start telling everybody what shit means. The way they wear their thing, this is all part of a gang. See, when you hang that from there, that means I'm going to hang you. Like I hang my microphone. Who the hell is that dude making up shit as he goes? All right, let me get to Compton real quick here. So according to Wikipedia, Compton, Los Angeles County, which is why they contract with Los Angeles County to cover their bases. Median age 38, average age 25, young population. Lots of crime. Let's see. I thought it was 10 square miles. It says somewhere down here. I think it's... Yeah, 10 square miles is the size. I thought it used to be a mile square. I think they've grown over time. Let's see. Demographics. Let's see what we got here. 32% black. Wow, 31% of the 100,000. 31,000 of the 100,000 is black. 24% is white. Non-Hispanic. 62,000 any race, Latino or Hispanic. So Compton is majority Hispanic, second is black, lowest is white, and crime is the highest in California. It's, let's see, middle class residents, highest crime rate in the state of California, violent reputation reached gangster rap, Compton's Most Wanted, NW, a lot of gangster racial conflicts between blacks and Latinos. Why aren't these people called racist? Because they're fighting each other because of race. Well, Rick, we only reserve that for white people. Oh, okay, I got it. So, anyway, Compton, if you ever make a wrong turn and end up in Compton, let me give you a tip. Turn the hell around and haul your ass out of that city, because it is a shithole. Rick, you can't see that. It's really good. Oh, hang on. I got to get the mayor. She got pulled over by the LA sheriff. That was pretty funny. So in this video, the mayor gets pulled over.
Gang that has branded its members the Executioners. Today, city leaders in Compton say they're fed up. They're calling for a federal investigation.
This has nothing to do with the executioner. This is just two deputies that pulled the mayor over.
And as Carlos Granda reports,
they terrorize the community and then they cover their tracks. It is unacceptable.
Is the Compton Sheriff Station being run by the Executioners, a gang of rogue deputies with matching tattoos? Sheriff Alex Villanueva denied it last week, but today Compton's own mayor, Asia Brown, shared her own experience.
What the hell? This dude got a zipper on his freaking mask? Oh, dude. Is he unzipped? How can you have a mask with a zipper? How does that... What the... You bring... This is... Never mind. I won't say anything. Let's go. Somebody will make something on his lips. Here we go.
Experience being pulled over by Compton deputies in June of last year.
And I rolled the window down and asked why was I being pulled over.
Gee, nobody's ever done that before. You were probably the first person ever to say that.
Within seconds, almost 7 to 9 sheriff's deputy vehicles descended upon the scene. They ordered me out of my vehicle and they asked me to put my hands on top of the police vehicle so they can search me as if I were a criminal. Mind you, I was accompanied by my husband and my infant daughter in the back seat. I do not look like someone that is trafficking drugs. I was in my family vehicle.
Well, let me tell you something. Anybody in Compton is probably trafficking drugs. Rick, how could you say that? Because that city is a crime-ridden, most violent... I mean, the shootings and the... Look, that is a pretty violent, high-crime city. It's very reasonable to think anybody there is up to no good. Rick, you can't say that because there's some good people everywhere. Okay.
Her baby crying, her husband and car search for drugs. Asia Brown says deputies let her go after they realized she is the mayor.
That's a bad day when you're like snatching you don't even know who the mayor is of the city that you're working in. You snatch her out, throw her in a car, search her with her kid and husband, and it's like, oh shit, you're the mayor? Okay, we'll let you go. What's up with that? Why did they let her go? I want to see the police report. I want to see the stop. Why did she get stopped? Why was she searched? If she didn't, why didn't she sue? There's more to this story.
But even after filing a complaint, Mayor Brown says she's received no satisfactory answers from the sheriff's department.
That means satisfactory, meaning you didn't tell me what I wanted to hear, so I'm not satisfied.
It's unacceptable. We will send a clear message to the...
There's that zipper dude again. I don't know what that is on his mask.
LA County Sheriff's Department that you clean your house.
See, here, I want to be like that gang guy again. There's a gang out there and they have zippers on their masks. What that means is, man, when they zip that up, they're going to commit some crime. When they unzip it, it's okay. You're safe. I mean, how can you just make up stuff about what a tattoo means? There's flames. This means they're coming from underground in hell. Really?
You get your house in order, or we will surely help you do that. You have executioners. You have gangs in your own house.
News of the executioners came to light last week in a claim filed by Compton celebrate shootings with tattoo parties, set illegal arrest quotas, and retaliated when he tried to blow the whistle. Compton community members say that sadly this is nothing new. Derek Cooper was arrested by Compton deputies.
All right, so anyway, is there a gang? I mean, we got all these reports. Did anybody show me evidence of a gang? They showed me a tattoo, and they showed me a guy that turned in a couple cops for fighting, and he said there's a gang. That is the only evidence I've seen that there's a gang. So, due process, hey, I'm not for protecting dirty cops. If there's a gang, get them. But you better do a damn better investigation than what these media is putting out, because I ain't seen no proof that there's a gang. All right? Somebody come here saying I'm protecting the cops. All right, here we go. We'll end that there.